welcome to Conversations with Nicole. Well, you are going to love hearing Todd Banjoman Taylor's story today. Todd is known as the father of Newgrass with fans around the world. Before I tell you all about his success, I need to let you know that Todd and I were classmates at Dorman High School in Spartanburg, South Carolina. Now, I remember Todd performing during our Farmers Day rallies. If you're a graduate of Dorman, you know what that's all about. And he performed at other assemblies. It was always quite the treat. But honestly, as a teenager, I really didn't truly have an appreciation for Todd's incredible talent or had any clue as to Todd's increasing fame or the trailblazer musician he has become. But 38 years later, after we graduated from high school, I am honored and humbled to share Todd Taylor's story with you today and call him a friend. Hello there.
Hello, Nicole. It's awesome to see you and to be on your show. I'm very proud of you, what all you've accomplished, by the way. Hey, schoolmates, Dorman High School, and it's just great. I've done a lot of interviews in my life, and this is my favorite one because of my schoolmates, and I'm very proud of you, what all you've accomplished as a mother and as a personality in the news media, and you're a real personality in the news media.
Well, you're sweet. But listen, enough about me. I want to talk about you. You want to hit the banjo really quick for us?
Hey, yeah, I'll play you a little song. Yeah.
Crazy little thing called love. I love it.
Let me put this banjo down.
Okay. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. I love it.
All right, thank you.
Hey, your love for music and playing the banjo started when you were just 6 years old. Tell me about your early years when your career really started to take off and you appeared on the Grand Ole Opry with music legends Roy Acuff and Bill Monroe. I mean, what a time.
Well, what actually happened during that time, during our high school years and all that stuff. I've been playing in amusement parks. I played at Carowinds Amusement Park. I did 6 shows a day, every day but Friday. And at that time, I was touring with the Nashville on the Road show with Jerry Clower, Stella Parton, Leon Everett. And I was in the bluegrass field first. And I always loved rock and roll, though, because of Troy Caldwell and Marshall Tucker Band, Spartanburg, that. The way I met Roy Acuff was when I was doing the bluegrass stuff with Bill Monroe, when I was doing package shows. Let me say this about the Opry. The Opry is a sacred thing, and it's something that I personally take very seriously. The legendary Grand Ole Opry. What else can you say?
Yeah, it's the epitome of what you do.
Here's the most ironic thing about it. The Oak Ridge Boys are dear friends. I love them all. When I went back to the Grand Ole Opry to play with the Oak Ridge Boys, I made my Opry debut with the Oak Ridge Boys. The Oak Ridge Boys, in my opinion, musically speaking, not because I'm friends with them, are the greatest, gospel country music group in the history of music. That was very special when they asked me, had me come play with them on the Opry.
Yes.
Playing Bobby Sue. There's a picture that's got me from the 80s and then another picture of then. It's called Then and Now.
Yeah.
And me and Dwayne Allen, Ace. If you're watching, Ace, I love you, brother. God bless you. It's got us standing in that same spot where I was standing in the 80s, which is pretty cool. It's just like me being the ambassador of state South Carolina.
Right.
It's an honor for that and to represent that to my fullest and the best that I can. And I love, that's how I look at the Opry. And,
Yeah.
you have to earn your way.
Let's go back a little bit to those early days. You were on Regis and Kathy Lee. You were
Right.
part of the Jerry Lewis telethon. Rick D. You were on Rick D's played your rock and roll version of Freebird. So
you brought that up.
those are huge accomplishments.
I always listened to Southern classic rock, even though I grew up with bluegrass and everything. Once you learn bluegrass and all that kind of stuff, you can master anything, so I hung around Toy, but I always listened to classic rock, and I always would transcribe songs like Freebird, Stairway to Heaven, just tons of songs. And one day, I had a whole catalog of all these songs, so I copyrighted all the arrangements because nobody had ever did that on the banjo. So I had the arrangements copyrighted. Now keep in mind, back then, there was no bluegrass groups or nobody doing rock with banjos or anything in bluegrass instruments doing that. Everybody told me it couldn't be done and this and that. So when I went to do Regis and Kathy Lee show, I'd been doing a lot of network shows in New York. On the plane flight home, I was talking to Toy Cole. I said, hey, I'm ready to do that. Toy said, you need to do this because it's going to be good for you. This is totally different. You'll be pioneering rock and roll on the banjo. So I got to give credit to Dwayne Evans at the Marshall Tucker Studios where it was recorded in Moore, South Carolina, the old school building.
I lived in Moore. I know exactly where it sits. Yep.
Yes. So I contacted Alan Walden, Phil and Alan Walden on Capricorn Records, and Phil was associated working with the Skinner guys, an organization out of Jacksonville, Florida. And I told him what I wanted to do. I wanted to make sure that it was, because you don't mess with stuff like Freebird or stuff like that. It would be sacrilegious. So he said, man, Todd Taylor, he said, your banjo playing is phenomenal. The guys, the remaining members that were still alive that were doing, they give you their blessings. And not only that, some of the guys said that they'd like to come and play on the project. So we ended up, I went to the studio down in Moore. It was all done in one day, one take. The drummer that played drums on it played, he used to be with Benny Mordonis, the song Into the Night. She's just 16 years old, leave her alone. They say Benny Mordonis was that's the most played song on the pop charts till this day. Rest Benny soul, he passed away now. His drummer, he played on it. And then the whole list of other people. Freebird was recorded in one take, and then I did Freebird, the Pink Panther, Stairway to Heaven.
So you became the first person to bring the banjo to rock and roll.
Yeah, a lot of record companies turned me down because they said you can't do rock with a banjo when I went shopping the project. So Maurice Saribon, they asked to offer me a deal, and it was a good deal. But I said, I think I can do it myself. So I got a big promoter out of Nashville, and I knew that all the classic stations, rock and roll stations of the United States, side A, now keep in mind, they wasn't the internet at this time. Side A was Freebird, side B was Stairway to Heaven, and it made it up into the top 42, and it was featured too, but it never went way up like Freebird did. So here's what I did. I got with the promoter, and I said, send it out to all the major classic rock stations. When these DJs get it, they're going to be laughing. And they're going to say, hey, here's a guy that says he can play rock and roll on a banjo and all this stuff. And let's listen to it. Maybe we can make fun. And I knew that in their minds, they would say, maybe we can make fun of him and put it in our skits or something and use it for how some radio shows do funny things.
Yeah.
But I knew that when they spent that record and they heard it, they would be blown away. That's what happened. 4.5 weeks later, I'm like, it's a whirlwind. I'm at Rick D's top 40 on the 11th floor with the Disco Duck King himself. Remember
Rick D's top 40? Yeah.
Yeah, Rick D's top 40. I'm there. And I mean, I'm just like, wow. And then my phone's blowing up. Everybody from the Skinner, Alan Walden, calling Toy Caldwell. He was still alive too at that time.
Quick, you started having some problems. You were diagnosed with a rare muscle disease early on.
Yes, mitochondrial myopathy complex 1 deficiency disorder.
Therefore, you became a big advocate of the Muscular Dystrophy Association, helping Jerry Lewis with his telethons. Obviously, you've recovered, but that was a tough time for you.
Right. I'm in remission now. What happened during that time? Back then, I was, touring, but I was real sick. I would even sometimes have to be like, walk down on the stage and sit on a stool, do the show, and then go back. After the show was over, I was wiped out.
Right.
So, but it got so bad, a lot of the fans was thinking like, it was rumors Todd Taylor's on drugs because they'd seen me during the shows. Because I was doing major package shows with major rock stars, because what I did was totally different and it didn't interfere with what they did. And I was a perfect opening act,
Mm-hmm.
So I went public with it, not just so I could let my fans know all around the world that what was going on. But before that, though, I had come back to Spartanburg. I went through 7 spinal taps, everything it could be done. I actually prayed to die. Then finally, Dr. Collins told me, he said, you got a rare, very rare muscle disease. There's 2 places right now in the United States, New York Medical University and Emory University in Atlanta, that's only got this electron something microscope.
But they were able to help you and treat you and get you back on track.
That's right. He walks into the room. He says, you got mitochondrial myopathy complex. And I was one of the first people, only person in the United States at that time. They gave me 6 months to live. And I went public about it. And people prayed. I got thousands and thousands of cards. And I prayed and I did get treatments and stuff like that. And the good Lord healed me. I'm not healed all the way, but he healed me. So I quit doing everything I was doing. The Lord spoke to me and said, you're going into churches all over the United States in your tour bus. Sure. Every church I went to, I gave my testimony and there would be people get saved. And it was just great. And I did that for over 1.5 years. Then all of a sudden it stopped. The Lord wanted me to go back to Nashville, which I did.
Well, we're so glad that you are healed and that you're doing well and you were able to return, because people get so much joy from your music. And then you actually went and became the first person to set the Guinness World Record for fastest banjo playing.
That's correct. I did that for all the handicapped people in the world. And when I did that record, I did it for all the handicapped people to know, don't give up, do anything. But
you actually played at 210 beats per minute.
Right. I left out something, by the way, what you asked me something. But when I pioneered the rock and roll banjo, when I did that, and it happened for me, I didn't think of that. But now that I look back on it now, it still amazes me, because I was the first person to pioneer rock and roll banjo as a solo instrument, like Kenny G did with a tenor sax, but as a solo artist to take that banjo itself to the top 40. And a lot of people started telling me, no, you need to take an electric banjo, make it electrified. I said, no, you can't do that. It's got to be done with a real banjo. I care about helping people. I thank God that he gave me a talent to do what I've done. I don't regret going through the muscle disease. I'm glad I went through all of that. It just made me a stronger person. It did.
Well, that's what challenges do when you rise above them, right?
That's right. And, I got a message the other day from a guy in Venezuela. And he said to me, the banjo's not known over here. It used to not be. But when I discovered you over 5 or 7 years ago, he said, no, everybody knows you here in Venezuela, because they never knew about the banjo. He said, you're my hero. And try to share my love of music also with my story, with that love of music, to let anybody know that's watching today, no matter what you're going through in your life, I love you and God loves you. And if you put God in everything you do, you will survive, you will flourish. Now, when you're sick like I was, that's when the devil will try to get into your mind. You got to stay strong. But that's what I want to say to everybody watching this show today. I'm just a regular person, and thank God, I praise God for what he's done for me, letting me play the banjo and getting me through. Everything I've been through.
But you are a giving person, you're a caring person, you're talented, you've worked hard, you're a wonderful ambassador for South Carolina. Therefore, in 2012, then Governor Nikki Haley awarded you with the highest civilian honor, which is the Order of the Palmetto. The state started recognizing you in 2018. The second Tuesday in every March is South Carolina Banjo Day, and that's also in honor of your musical contributions to South Carolina. Wow, that's exciting for you. That just shows what sort of impact you're making on South Carolina, and people appreciate you.
Those awards there and mean the world to me, because that's the kind of person I want to be remembered as a person that helped people and that loved people no matter what, and I'm honored to represent the state of South Carolina as an ambassador for South Carolina where I go, because I'm proud of our state of South Carolina. I love other places, but it is an honor. I never dreamed I would have a holiday in my name. One day I asked my road manager, I said, am I dead? I said, normally you don't get a holiday unless you're passed away. He said, no, you're
No,
alive.
you are alive and well, and we love that you have a holiday.
I went down to the state capitol this past South Carolina Banjo Day, and it was a great time.
And you and Governor Henry McMaster are now friends.
He's a guitar player too.
Yeah.
We play the guitar and banjo together, and yes, he's a good friend of mine, and he's a really great guy.
What is the coolest memory that you have of your time playing the banjo?
I'm going to tell you.
What?
When I walked down on the Ole Opry stage with my hero brothers, the legendary Oak Ridge Boys. But number two would be all those. It would have to be, getting the Order of the Palmetto and all that stuff. But, pioneering rock and roll banjo was really, I didn't think nothing of that when all that happened during that, because I was young. Mm-hmm. I didn't really realize what an impact I did. But now, like a lot of people back during the day was saying, hey, you made the banjo cool again and all that stuff. Young people back there in the late 80s and 90s, when I'd be touring, hey, I want to play the banjo, now because of, what you've done with the banjo, playing rock with a banjo,
right.
And doing.
Well, it's thinking out of the box, and it's just putting the love of music with a different instrument. You can do it for anything.
That's right. When I do my Todd Taylor concert, it's we go from bluegrass, Todd Taylor style bluegrass, to rock and roll. You know what I'm saying? And they love it. And I would always end the show with Freebird. And some of my shows go to 2.5 to 3 hours, and my bass player will walk over to me and say, we've been playing 3 hours, Todd.
It's time to wrap up, Todd Taylor style.
And I'm like, the fans are still here and they're loving it. Like I said, I like country and rock and all that stuff. And I did like bluegrass because I played this for the banjo, but I always wanted to be Todd Taylor style.
Yeah.
Bill Monroe told me one time on the tour bus, and this goes to everybody that's watching this today, do not try to imitate anybody. When you're playing, if you're doing anything in music, be who you are. You have to have your own craft, develop your own style, be you. Now, with that being said, I took a lot of cover songs because it had never been done on the banjo and took them. I wasn't trying to copy them. I did it my way because it had never been done on the banjo.
So what's the future for Todd Taylor? You've accomplished so many things. What's on your radar?
When COVID set in, I come out here to this studio. I started doing songs for fun, just doing a lot of songs for fun, to putting them out on the internet. I started recording a lot of songs, like In the Middle of the Road, The Pretenders, America, tons of songs, and then a lot of original stuff. I did probably 35 or 40 songs.
Mm-hmm.
So that I got that project's going to be coming out.
So the future for Todd Taylor is more music, more authentic.
Yes, more music, book tours. Matter of fact, let me show you some of my books, if that's okay.
Yes.
Okay. Hal Leonard, the biggest music print publisher in the world. I'm honored to be with him. Hal Leonard Center Stream. This is one book I did. It's called Todd Taylor's 50 Most Requested Banjo Licks, because people had always been wanting to know those licks. And there's my buddy Joe Bonzel on the back. Opry, well, he wrote the foreword for this book. And then we have a lot of people that always ask me how to set up the best 5-string banjo. Joe Carducci from Gretsch Corporation. He and we did this book, and this book is on how to set up the best 5-string banjo. Everybody had wanted the gospel book, then they have the gospel book as well.
Yep.
And the foreword was wrote on this book by Fred Gretsch, my buddy Fred Gretsch. And then everybody likes Christmas. They want Christmas. I have a Christmas CD.
Of course.
And here's the Christmas book, Todd Taylor's Christmas book.
That's awesome. Well, all of that's available on your website to find out how to get that.
I'm looking forward to the book tour, going to lots of Barnes and Nobles, meeting the fans. I love doing that. And also the regular concerts too. Looking forward to going back to the Grand Ole Opry sometime soon.
Yeah.
Just also trying to be the best person that I can be in my life. That's what I strive to be every day, and just enjoy life and play music and try to stay healthy.
Well, you've just got so much more ahead of you, and you've already accomplished so much. Like I've said before, as a kid, I just had no idea how talented you were at the time, because I was just a kid myself. But it is really an honor to be able to talk to you about your success 38 years after we graduated high school from Dorman High School. It does. And we're going to have to wrap things up, but here's what I'd like for you to do. I want to tell my folks that are watching, all the information on Todd is available in the description with his websites. He's an awesome person. He's a true ambassador for South Carolina. He's a trailblazer in his industry. What a privilege for me to have known you all those years ago, and for you to take your time to talk to me, because I'm just a regular old person who really appreciates what you've brought to the table all these years with your talents. And God bless you for all that you're doing, have done, have achieved. I'm so proud to know you and to be your friend and to be able to tell people about you.
I'm proud of you too. We went to high school together. I'm proud of you, all your years at the news station in Myrtle Beach.
We've both been blessed, but I'm glad I can share.
It's an honor to be interviewed by my schoolmates. It makes it cool, extra cool. You know what I'm saying?
I think it's kind of cool too that our paths have crossed again all these years later. But I want to thank you for being my guest. As we wrap up, would you grab the banjo and just kind of play us out? Is that possible?
Let's see. If I can get it.
So listen, again, it's been an honor to have you as my guest today for Conversations with Nicole. You're a special person. I love you, and I'm thankful for your friendship. And I just want to thank everyone for joining us today. And I'm just going to let you strum us on out. So viewers, folks, followers, until I see you again, I hope you have a great day. Todd Taylor, the Banjo Man, going to strum us out.
I want everybody to know, may God bless you in anything you do. Stay safe. I love you, and Jesus loves you.
Perfect.